So this is a very short video on how to troubleshoot dodgy curves in Maya's graph editor. So let's say you've done a bit of animation here, and this is just a bit of animation of Monty walking along, and I can see that there's some clicking here in the motion cycle, right? Now, if I'm new to Maya and I've done some animation like this, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what's wrong with this? How do I fix this problem? And this is a really common problem for people who are first learning to animate in Maya. And the trick is, what you have to do is you have to get in there and try and figure out what curve is causing these problems. Now, in this case with Monty, if we look at him here, viewed from this side, it's actually not too bad, right? So I can tell that the up and down curve in his main body control is looking pretty good. His feet are okay too. There's a little bit of jiggle in the feet. I'm not too worried about that. But if you look at him from the front, the side-to-side motion is very jumpy. So if I select his main root control here and press W on my keyboard, I can see that there's a red arrow. That's the X translation. And it's very likely that the problem in my animation is to do with the X translation. So if I hit spacebar and I go to the multi-view so that I can see the graph editor, there we go, down there, and I can look at that curve and I can see that very likely that's the cause of the trouble. And usually what you're looking for in a walk cycle is a sine wave, or something close to a sine wave, which is to say an oscillation or an equal distribution curve. In this case, Monty's taking a step and the weight is passing from his left foot from his right foot to his left foot, and the high point on the curve is probably around about frame 13. So that's going to be the extreme left position on translate X. So if I go ahead and delete some of these curves and just make my curve nice and smooth so I get a nice oscillation from side to side, then my animation should be a lot better. Now this is just a simple example and every case is different. But when you're starting out with animation, what you're really doing is you're looking at the animation and you're thinking there's some bumps and clicks here, and you've got to go into the curves and try and troubleshoot what's going wrong and try and figure out how to make it better. I can also see that with his left foot, there's something a little bit funny there in the looks like it's in the ball roll control where Monty's foot is bending, and so I could probably take that down a little bit and then take that up a little bit, which means I'm also going to have to change it at frame 1 and probably up a little bit there as well. And then I can adjust that. So I can see that what I'm looking for is a nice smooth curve where that bend in the foot gets gradually more and more, and that should remove the clicking there in that foot. Let's just go back and oh, there, it's getting that leg needs extending there, so I may have to do that a little bit more. There's a lot of kind of back and forth tweaking that goes on in these things, and to some degree you just have to kind of eyeball it, but there, that's looking better than it was before. Good. Welcome to the world of Maya and troubleshooting animation curves and going through each curve and trying to figure out what the problem is. Is it a translate? Is it a rotate? Which direction is it in? And finally, after a while of doing this, you'll find that the graph editor will become your friend and your biggest ally.